Today, Nvidia is releasing new RTX 40 variants. AMD just announced a new FSR. Nvidia's chip needs 1200 watts, and the RTX 50 series is about to destroy AMD. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. First up for today, Nvidia is apparently planning to release new variants of their RTX 40 GPUs. This is something we've seen multiple times before though, so it's not a big surprise. Basically, over time, Nvidia accumulates a large number of chips with disabled cores, thanks to defects in the manufacturing process. But instead of just tossing them out, Nvidia releases new SKUs with more cut-down versions in them. For example, Nvidia's 4070 is made from their 8104 GPU, but Nvidia could take their 8103 and cut it down to make it the same specs as the 4070. So you now have a 4070 made from 8103 instead of 8104. This story originally comes from the well-known leaker Megasize GPU, where he claims the 4060 will get a new variant made from the 8106, the 4060 Ti will get one made from the 8104, and the 4070 from the 8103. Of course, this means that you could soon have a card with a much higher end GPU in it. But don't get too excited, because it will simply be cut down enough to have the exact same specs as the older GPU. That's what we call binning. And to learn other generic, widely used terms in the PC hardware industry that you probably already know, make sure you subscribe to Gamer Meld. Next up for today, AMD has just announced FSR 3.1, a new version of their super resolution tech that adds quite a few new things. For one, there looks to be a big quality improvement over what we have now. As you can see, they show off an improvement in temporal stability as well as a big reduction in ghosting. And you can see that this is shown in Ratchet and Clank, which is getting 3.1 later this year. It also adds support for Vulkan as well as the Xbox Game Dev Kit. But the really big news here is that it decouples super resolution from AMD's frame generation, meaning it would let game developers combine AMD's frame generation with, say, DLSS or XeSS. So for example, RTX 30 GPU users could use AMD's frame generation and then use DLSS. This once again shows how much more flexible AMD is with their technology, and how that can not only benefit AMD owners, but also Nvidia owners. According to AMD, it looks like FSR 3.1 will be available to game developers next quarter. Next up, we know that Nvidia's new Blackwell chip is the company's first MCM GPU, marking a turning point for GPU technology moving forward. We already knew the company had been working on it for years, but it's finally here, and the interconnect is seriously impressive, with a huge step forward for MCM GPUs. But the thing is that this is one huge chip. I mean, it's essentially two GPUs that both reach the reticle limit, which is the maximum surface area a chip can be exposed with a single mask, meaning each chip is as big as current technology can make them, and there's two of them. And that makes me wonder two things: its price and power draw. And both of those look to be answered. For one, Jensen Huang recently stated that it's set to cost between $30,000 and $40,000. Now, he later clarified that that price is for the chip only, but they aren't planning to sell just the chip. Apparently, the B200 production costs are around $6,000, so it does have some very nice margins. Though the chip apparently costs $10 billion to make the design and architecture, so they've obviously got to get that back somehow. And finally, a full B200 in a superchip platform has a maximum TDP of an eye-watering 1200 watts. A 500 watt increase over the H100. Of course, it has two GPUs built into one, but talk about heat dissipation. Servers will have to be made in Antarctica for proper cooling before long. And lastly for today, Nvidia's RTX 50 cards are set to be a massive change over current gen parts. I'm talking a huge redesign for massive performance. Recently, I discussed a tweet from known leaker Kopite7 Kimmy, who claimed that the highest end gaming GPU, GB202, is built on the same process node as Nvidia's newly announced B200. And while according to him, it comes with a 30% density increase from the current gen node, that's still a far cry from the jump we saw going from Ampere to Ada Lovelace. Remember, that was going from Samsung's 8 nanometers to TSMC's 4N process. So I was getting a little concerned that their next gen wouldn't exactly be a huge uplift. Well, the known GPU leaker, AGF, on Twitter recently claimed that the top-end gaming SKU from a gen-to-gen perspective is getting the biggest performance uplift ever. As he states, Blackwell was designed to challenge a 3nm AMD GPU with RDNA 4. Though of course we've since learned that RDNA 4 is likely just mid-range parts, but Nvidia wouldn't have known that when making Blackwell. Not only that, but he also claims that GB203, which should be the GPU inside the RTX 5080, is close to 8102 in raster and beats in ray tracing, meaning the 5080 will actually be able to beat the RTX 4090. So it's an absolute monster upgrade over the 4080. To top it all off, according to Red Gaming Tech, he's hearing that the 5090's GPU should be a 50 to 70% performance increase over current gen. And the reason could boil down to this tweet from Copite7 Kimmy, which claims a pretty big architectural change to make each core faster. Now, while working on this video, it does look like that tweet has since been deleted, but Nvidia's own GPU architect recently stated that Blackwell is a completely different microarchitecture to Hopper. And don't forget that the gaming GPUs are made from Blackwell as well, so that easily explains why the density increase isn't that big. Simply put, Nvidia doesn't need it to make a killer GPU, and this could be terrible news for AMD. So while that does it for today, what, if any, RTX 50 GPU are you most excited for? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And as always, have a great day.